Okay, we are going now. Live. 4, 3, 2, 1. Zero.
Yes.
Start.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome to all the dignitaries, today's resource person, principal of Anna Leela College of Commerce, all the coordinators of this international webinar, and all dear participants, teachers from the national and international domain. As you are well aware that this international webinar is organized by Anna Leela College of Commerce and Economics and Shoba Jayram Shetty College in association with Mucta, Mumbai University College Teacher Association. And today's international webinar topic is very interesting topic and unique topic, application of Chanakya Niti in education. Let me introduce Mucta's executive persons. Today we have with us Professor Dr. Vaibhav Naravade, who is a president of Mucta
Namaskar.
and working as a professor in D.Y. Patil Engineering College. Mr. Subhash Athavale, he is a general secretary of Mucta, librarian in CHM College, Ulhasnagar. We have with us Professor Vittal Sontakke, who is a treasurer and vice principal of Kirti College, Mumbai. We have with us Dr. Meenakshi ma'am. She is a CA and professor in ICL College and coordinator of Mucta Publications. We have with us a Professor Sandeep Bhavsar, our Mucta associate from Wellinger Institute. Myself, Dr. Suvarna Raval, founder member of Mucta and associate professor in zoology and vice principal in BNN College, Bhiwandi. I request Dr. Meenakshi ma'am to brief about our association Mucta. Hand over to Meenakshi ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Very good morning to all. On behalf of Mucta, I welcome you all. Mucta is registered association and is affiliated to ABRSM. The main objective of the association is Rashtra ke Hiit mein Shiksha, Shiksha ke Hiit mein Shikshak, and Shikshak ke Hiit mein Samaj. As per the objective, the association since its inception started taking keen interest in teachers' well-being. A massive awareness drive was conducted throughout Mumbai University affiliated colleges under the leadership of Dr. Shekhar Chandatre as a president and Dr. Namdev Mandage as general secretary. Now, under the leadership of Dr. Vaibhav Naravade as a president and Professor Subhash Athavale as general secretary, a lot of initiatives has been taken for teachers training. Mucta has established teachers education cell as well as teachers grievance cells. Recently, the new website is launched, which will be very useful and informative to teachers. During pandemic, a lot of activities are taken up by Mucta. Immediately after lockdown, Mucta team has decided to hold webinars for teachers. Since 4th April, 12 webinars were conducted on innovative topics and we have received a great response from more than 2,000 teachers representing 107 universities of India and abroad. Mucta team then decided to help colleges by providing technical support. As an outcome, 6 colleges and universities are organizing webinars in association with Mucta. As such, today we are gathered for such an interesting international webinar. Thank you. I now request Mr. Krishna to take over the charge of the session for the formal program. Thank you. Krishna, please take over the charge.
Am I audible?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, madam. Very good morning to Dr. Padma Deshmukh, Principal, Anna Leela College, Dr. Prashant Shinde, Chief Coordinator, Anna Leela College, Narwade Sir, President, Mucta, Subhash Athavale Sir, General Secretary, Mucta, and other members from Mucta, my colleagues from Anna Leela College, and participants. I, Krishna Kumar Shukla, BCom Coordinator of Bunts Anna Leela College, take this opportunity to welcome you all for the international webinar on application of Chanakya Niti in modern education. For today's webinar, we have received more than 4,500 participants from all over India, which includes 26 states and 14 countries like Oman, Nepal, Bahrain, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Qatar, Canada, Bhutan, Burkina Faso, Mabur, Australia, Argentina, Iran, who are with us on YouTube Live. Once again, a warm welcome to all dear participants. Now, I would request Dr. Padma Deshmukh, Principal, Anna Leela College, to grace the occasion with a brief about college. Over to you, ma'am. Madam.
Good morning to every one of you. Let me briefly introduce my college. That is Anna Leela College of Commerce and Economics and Shoba Jayram Shetty College for BMS, which is managed by the Bunts, Mumbai. The organization Bunts is a 93-year-old socio-cultural organization of the Bunts community of Mumbai and endeavors to promote social, economic, cultural, and educational activities. They've established 2 campuses, one at Powai, where they have a pre-primary school to ranging from pre-primary school to degree college, the SM Shetty College, which is affiliated to Mumbai University. The other campus is the Sashi Madmohan Shetty campus at Kurla, where we have 4 colleges, a junior college, a degree college, that's Anna Leela College, a hospitality college, which is the RPH, and a PG Diploma Management College, which is UKS. Anna Leela College is a 12-year-old college affiliated to University of Mumbai and caters to around 1,700 students. The college offers courses in accountancy, accountancy and finance, multimedia, commerce, management studies, and IT at the undergraduate level, and offers MCOM in both advanced accounting and business management at the PG level. The college also organizes add-on courses as a capacity building exercise for its students. We basically cater to socio-economically weaker students, and therefore we believe in a holistic development of the students. The college has made strides in sports and was ranked 23rd at the University of Mumbai level in 1920. Students have represented at national and international levels, not only in sports, but also in cultural activities. With a state-of-art infrastructure, the college also extends financial assistance to needy students. And with a student-friendly campus, the college promotes, as I said, a very holistic development of students. It also extends a supporting hand to students in placements. This webinar, organized by the staff from the Department of Commerce, is an effort to bring all the educators under one roof for a very innovative topic. I extend a hearty welcome to Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai, today's spokesperson or resource person, for kindly acceding to our request. My gratitude also to all the office bearers of Mucta for their unconditional support extended in the conduct of this webinar. A big thank you to all my faculty participants and I'm sure you will definitely enhance your knowledge through this webinar. Thank you one and all, and I hope you all have a great time in this.
Thank you, ma'am. As penned by greatest strategist, philosopher, economist, and teacher Acharya Chanakya, the fragrance of flowers spread only in the direction of the wind, but the goodness of the person spreads in all the directions. To guide us more on Chanakya Niti, we have with us such an eminent person with full of goodness, Dr. Radhakishan Pillai. We welcome Dr. Radhakishan Pillai, Deputy Director, Chanakya International Institute of Leadership Studies, University of Mumbai, a well-renowned author and winner of an international award for his book Corporate Chanakya. Also, author of 15 best-sellers books, including Chanakya 7 Secrets of Leadership, Chanakya in You, Chanakya Niti, and many more. He is also a recipient of awards like prestigious Sardar Patel International Award, Avishkar Chanakya Innovation Research Award, and recently Pillai sir was honored with Lokmat National Education Leadership Award. Sir is a visiting faculty in prestigious institutes in India and abroad, including the IITs, IIMs, and Indian Institute of Science. He has been a trainer and strategic consultant to over 500 organizations, which include Indian Army, Navy, Air Force, Indian Police, etc. I request Dr. Radhakishan Pillai to begin with his session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. A warm good evening to each one of you. Am I audible, sir? Am I
Yes,
audible?
sir, yes. Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, thank you so much for the testing. A warm good morning and a good afternoon to each one of you for joining in such large numbers. And I would like to start by thanking all the organizers, Anna Leela College, Shoba College, the whole Bunts Sangh, and of course, Mucta, an organization that is doing phenomenal work to get so many teachers, researchers, scholars together. And of course, as a part of the Mumbai University, I'm proud that teachers are coming together for such a noble work. So I'd like to specially thank Vaibhav sir. I'd like to thank Subhash sir, Vitthal sir, Meenakshi madam, Sandeep sir, and Suvarna madam, and also our backend team who is working so hard, right, from Krishna sir and the whole team. My heartfelt gratitude to each one of you for giving me this particular platform to reach out the ideas of Chanakya and to the community which is so closely knit by one field called as education. So friends, it's an honor for me as a teacher of Mumbai University to present in front of my friends and colleagues. I know many of you are very, very senior, and I like to specially thank Padma ma'am, who has been responsible in a big way for also giving me guidance throughout my teaching career. I've been part of the Mumbai University for the last 12 years. And as the introduction says, I had a very, very baby institute, I would say, in the University of Mumbai. It's called the Chanakya International Institute of Leadership Studies, which is based out of the Kalina campus. So whenever there was any starting problems, when we did projects and all, a special thanks to Padma ma'am, who's been like a mentor and a guide to me. And of course, all the teachers who are present virtually and digitally right now. So with that, offering my salutations to each participant, I like to begin on the particular topic, that is application of Chanakya Niti in modern education. Application of Chanakya Niti in modern education. I thought I would split up this whole session into 3 parts, depending on the topic that we already have. The first one is Chanakya. I think the name itself has such a power by itself that it attracts so many people. There's a saying that ayogyam purusho nasti yojaka tatra durlabha. I have studied and done my PhD and research on Chanakya, and all of you are interested to actually listen to Chanakya. That's why we are here. But the organizers are also very important. So thanks to the whole organizing team. So the speaker is going to speak on Chanakya. The listeners are going to listen about Chanakya. But at the end of the whole thing, everybody should become Chanakya. That is the whole idea, because Chanakya is not just a person, he's a thought process. Ek vichar dhara hai Chanakya. So I'll be talking first on Chanakya, giving a little bit of a background about him. The second is I'm talking about the education system, okay, in general, and then I'm going to talk about modern education system. So there are 3 things that I'm going to talk about Chanakya, the education system, and of course the modern education system. And of course, how do we apply the Chanakya Nitis in all the three? So with your permission, I like to start with the first one, that is Chanakya. Indian history cannot be complete without some legends. I think every country, every culture has got legends without whom the culture cannot be complete. In our country, as we have great people, saints and sages, thinkers, philosophers, kings, writers, artists, among all these people who have added to our knowledge base from generation to generation, one person stands out as an epitome in the field of knowledge and teaching, that is Chanakya. Chanakya lived in India roughly around in the 4th century BC, which is around 2400 years ago. He is a historical character. He is not an imaginary character. Unfortunately, whenever we study the Indian history, we can put it into two parts. One is the imaginary part and one is the historical part. And therefore we say, shayad wo kalpanik bhi ho sakta hai. And somewhere we have to go into the pragmatic way of giving references and proving that that person lived. Unfortunately, in the case of Chanakya, we don't have to prove because he lived in 4th century BC. There are lots of historical evidences. So Chanakya is a part of Kali Yuga, if you want to call it. Hamare hi yuga ke the. So he was after Buddha and Mahavira, if you look at the generation. So all the great thought process that happened as a thought revolution 2400 years ago in India, which influenced globally, Chanakya was one of them. Just to tell you a little bit of more historical background, he was known by 3 names: Vishnugupta, Kautilya, and Chanakya. Vishnugupta was his initial name given by his parents, as we call the official name. Then comes Chanakya, the most popular name. In fact, his father also was a teacher. Yes, for all the teachers, we are very proud to tell that he was a part of the teaching community and he was a part of a family of teachers. So his father's name was Chanak, Chanakya Putra Chanakya. His father, Chanak, was an advisor to the Magad kingdom and the Magad kings. Magad is modern day Bihar, and Chanak stayed in Patliputra, which is modern day Patna. Now Chanak, the great teacher, his subject was political science or Rajaniti. We can also call it Arthashastra. From the traditional method, it's also called as Arthashastra. So his father was teaching. Unfortunately, the father was advising the wrong king. Remember one thing, teachers are also advisors to powerful people. We are the one who are full-time thinkers. Thinkers have to suggest leaders what to do. Chanak was advising Dhananand, the then king of the Nanda dynasty, to actually have a good governance model, to become a good leader. Unfortunately, Dhananand did not listen to him properly, and therefore he had to actually create a revolution. One of the greatest revolution that a teacher created was by Chanakya's father, Chanak. Afterwards, Dhananand got so angry that he had to actually, even in fact kill his father, that is Chanak. And little Chanakya had to run away, and he went to Takshashila University. He went off to Takshashila, studied over there, and he became a professor, a teacher of political science. Think about it, you learn and you become a teacher. Many principals know this, that it always happens that when you look at your class of students, you always have a small dream that the best student also should enter the field of teaching. So, Chanakya was such a person who excelled as a student in Takshashila University, and was immediately after the graduation ceremony told by the principal of that particular university during those days, the Kuluguru, that I want everybody to go home and do the best practices of what you have learned in different fields. But I will not allow one person to go away from Takshashila, and that is Vishnugupta Chanakya. He continues, he becomes an excellent teacher. He becomes an excellent teacher, a role model teacher. But destiny has something more. He is called back to Patliputra, and the seniors tell him, now you have to continue what your dad could not complete. In Sanskrit, it is said that the word putra means, a putra means who continues what is undone by the previous generation. Whenever you start something, any particular project, the beauty of the project is that the project should continue to grow. It should expand. Like many of you must have seen in your own colleges and schools. It started as a small institution, and is growing and growing and growing. And every generation will require its own leaders. So that is called continuous growth. So what happens? Chanakya had to continue what his father could not do, that is establish good leaders. He came back with a lot of strong background, back to Takshashila, from Takshashila to Patliputra. He also advised Dhananand like his father and said, you better be a good leader. But Dhananand, after so many years, also did not change. And finally, Chanakya decided, if the leader doesn't change, I will change the leader. Remember this, if the leader doesn't change, I will change the leader. And the most important thing that we know about Chanakya is as a kingmaker. Raja se bhi bada Rajguru hota hai. So he decided to take up the challenge of not just advising politicians, but as a teacher, he said, I will change the whole system. And most important, to change the system, first change the leader. And therefore, he selects a very young student, a very dynamic student who has got leadership qualities. His name is Chandragupta Maurya. And he trains him. And of course, he defeats Dhananand and replaces Dhananand by his own student called as Chandragupta Maurya. He makes him the Samrat of India. And after that, we see Chanakya actually creating the Golden Bharat. That is something which we are very proud of. History cannot have been complete in India without the Suvarna Kal, as we say, the golden era. And that was created by Chanakya. One very interesting incident that happened in Chanakya's life was during the same time, the same era, Alexander had decided to conquer the world. He had almost conquered half of the world, but the moment he came to India, we only know one part of the story, and that is Sikandar and Porus ki ladai. Sikandar or Porus. But after that, he could not enter India. Chanakya strategically defeated Alexander. Yes, Alexander was a great leader. We should learn from him also. But Chanakya decided, no, after a point, I will not allow certain invaders to go and ruin my country. So he stopped him. But let me tell you one very interesting thing about Chanakya. He was a teacher. Remember that. A teacher is the one who doesn't love to fight, because that is not what teachers are meant for. Teachers are actually the people who create new societies. Of course, after defeating Alexander, something interesting he did is that he sent him back. He did not kill Alexander. In India, we don't have the idea of killing people. But of course, we should be winners. There is a difference between conquering versus killing. We should conquer. We should aim to be the world best. But that doesn't mean we have to go and destroy others. Chanakya realized that when Alexander came, he came along with a great army. And Chanakya believed as a teacher that if two great people meet, we should actually think about collaboration. Two ideas makes the third idea better. It's called the concept of synergy. Do you know what he did? He made sure that after Alexander went back, the general, the Senapati of the army of Alexander was Seleucus. He made sure that his daughter, Helen, was actually married to Chandragupta Maurya. Think about it. Today we are talking about international collaborations. Chanakya was actually an international collaboration in the field of education. He said, if there is a Greek culture, well, Chanakya had already heard about great philosophers like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, all from Greece. And he says, here is a leader who has come all the way, who has been actually nurtured in the philosophy of the great culture. And I have the great Vedic culture, the Indian culture. We should collaborate. Think about what we are saying today, modern day education. Modern day education talks about the same thing, that we should collaborate with a lot of foreign universities and also different types of researchers and scholars. Chanakya actually did that. Unfortunately, during his generation, we did not have these webinars where we have so many teachers, students from 15 countries joining in. But at least he collaborated to get the ideas. Friends, I like to give you a personal example. I was in Greece, where I represented the Indian philosophy. I represent the Indian delegation to the World Philosophy Congress, headed by Dr. Shubhada Joshi, who was my PhD guide, and also at that particular point, the head of philosophy department. Can you believe when we went to Greece, I actually found a professor there called Dimantras in the university. And I was quite surprised that Dimantras sir at the Athens University said, I have done my PhD from India. And I said, from where? Banaras Hindu University. And the subject of research was Greeks in India. Greeks in India. And I was quite surprised and intrigued that the Greeks have an impact on Indian culture and Indians have an impact on the Greek culture. The collaboration was something that Chanakya foresaw so many years ago. Why am I telling you all these things, friends, is that if you look at modern day education or ancient education, collaboration was the method. So Chanakya made sure that Alexander was defeated, but not saying that he's just to be killed, but we can even learn from a competitor and make ourselves better. But very, very important for modern day education. Other thing which he did was actually write 2 books. One is called Kautilya's Arthashastra and Chanakya Niti. Remember, this is the responsibility of a good teacher. He or she not only teaches, but he or she also writes textbooks, also does paper publications, so that your knowledge is not limited only to your classroom, but it can reach the whole world. And sometimes we never understand the impact of a well-written book. It can actually reach generations to come. Look at what we celebrate as Guru Purnima. Guru Purnima is actually the birthday of Vedavyas, who actually compiled all the Vedas. And imagine the phenomenal work that he did. The Ramayana, sorry, not the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, the various Puranas and everything he compiled. And even today, when you're looking at a serial like a Ramayana or Mahabharata, which is breaking world records, is actually coming out from an author and a teacher called Vedavyas. So my dear teachers and colleagues, I have this request. There are 2 types of publications. One is when we have to do our KPI, API, we have to show how many seminars we have organized, how many research papers we have done. That is the minimum work that we have to do. But take the initiative of saying that, I will write a book, whatever notes I have made in my life, I should publish it and also reach it to the masses. Okay, so one is for the academic journals, we should write, no doubts about it. But why don't we write popular books? We will create a revolution by doing that. In fact, I always believe that whenever I go to America, the teachers actually are very popular authors. They are researchers. Let's give you a couple of examples. Stephen Covey, who wrote a very fantastic book as 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Not many people know that he was actually a professor and his PhD subject was on effectiveness of leaders. And this book has sold more than 10 crore copies. Can you believe the number? I can't even believe it's not just 1 or 2, it's 10 crore. So that is what a researcher should do to bring out his or her subject expertise to the masses so the society benefits. Chanakya therefore wrote Kautilya Arthashastra and Chanakya Niti. And if Chanakya is known not only for his story of his lifetime, what he achieved, but is also known for the publication that he did. Yes, during those days, there was no paper, there is no e-publication, it was written in Tadapatri. Friends, if you want to know and you want to see this actual palm leaves of Kautilya Arthashastra written by Chanakya, please, whenever you have a chance to visit, go to Mysore University in Karnataka. In the Mysore University, there is an Oriental Research Institution. And in the Oriental Research Institution, we actually have the palm leaves of Chanakya, given certified by the Archaeology Department of India, the government of India. This is the same 2,400-year-old Arthashastra, carbon dating. A great scholar called Shama Shastri actually discovered that Arthashastra in 1905. Remember one thing, you may write a book, but you may forget it. But many generations later on, somebody can pick it up. So Shama Shastri picked it up and he said, wow, remember this is the British Raj. During the British Raj also, somebody picked it up and he translated that into English. And it became very popular worldwide. People started respecting, even during British era, the contribution of Indian teachers and Indian education globally. And the Mysore king, he was a very good king, but we were ruled by Britishers at that particular time. He had a very famous statement about Shama Shastri. Remember, we are talking about the era 1905. He said, everybody in Mysore knows who is the king, correct? Because he's the Raja. But the whole world knows where is Mysore because of Shama Shastri. So, whenever a football match you win and a World Cup, people say, where is this country? You have to look at a map. So, our Arthashastra, translated by Shama Shastri in English, reached many corners of the world. We contributed. In fact, I've been traveling across the globe. In so many universities, I've seen that there is a copy of Arthashastra in the local language. I was in Heidelberg University in Germany, and I was quite surprised. In 1929, 1929, imagine which era we are talking about. There is a German translation of Kautilya Arthashastra. So my dear friends, Indians have contributed to the education system worldwide, and for generations to come. And now it becomes our responsibility to do that again. So friends, please remember to write a book whenever you feel right, but do write, because you are creating history and knowledge is actually getting documented for generations to come. Now coming back, I will not talk much because I do a lot of lectures. We have programs in the Mumbai University where we teach the whole Arthashastra as a subject. It's got 6,000 sutras. So Chanakya Niti is a different book than Arthashastra. While Kautilya Arthashastra has got 6,000 sutras on leadership, Chanakya Niti is for a common man. It can be used not only by the heads of the state, but also by simple people like you and me. So I'll give you one small example of Chanakya Niti. It is very, very practical and very, very result oriented. So Chanakya is a very practical philosopher. So let me quote a very famous Chanakya Niti. He says, be careful from three things. Be very careful from three things. If you know how to be in the right company, they will bless you and your life will be very progressive. But if you don't know how to handle them, they will destroy you completely. Okay. So what are the three things? If you know how to handle it, you will be very lucky, you will prosper. But if you don't know how to handle it, they will destroy you. And Chanakya gives these three examples. So first is called fire. Okay. So fire, if you know how to touch, then you can handle it. So even our house without a fire, you can't do cooking, That's why when you enter a house, it's called house warming ceremony. Even if you look at it, marriage ceremonies, fire is a deity. Okay. Agni Shapat, as they say, So what is very important, fire is a very interesting kind of a concept that we have developed. And Chanakya says, even our Vedas start with, Agni as a devata. So fire, please understand, take the blessings of fire. But please also understand, if you don't know how to use it, the fire will burn you completely. So first is fire. Second is a leader or a king. For all the people who are part of the management team, they will understand, So if there is an XYZ leader, okay, and we are all in the part of the leadership team, it's lucky, very nice. So, the king will take a decision. You don't have to go around, beating the bush and bureaucracy process. So if you are dealing with the leader, the top guys, the king itself, then directly you can get a lot of benefits, just put a word and it's done. But if you break the trust of that leader or those particular person in power, they can destroy your career completely. I'm not telling you to become a maskabaj, the people who try to say, yes, boss, yes, boss, yes, boss. No. That is not the idea. But you have to be understanding that the leaders in power can make you or break you. So first is fire, second is the king. And the third is very interesting example he gives, that is the snake. And the first time when I heard it, snake, how can snake be useful? Of course, I know the other side of snake, that it can destroy once you bite. But you'd be surprised. I work very closely with the Indian Army, the Indian Armed Forces. We do a lot of training programs, the Indian Navy, Air Force, paramilitary forces. And I was quite surprised to know that in the army, there's a training given to the soldiers how to catch snakes. Catch snakes for what? Not for killing them. But you'll be surprised when army is going on a mission mode, especially in jungles and all, you'll be surprised to know that you will be in new jungles and new terrains. You don't know what to eat, because there could be a fruit which may look very nice, but it could be poisonous. So they say, if you want to survive hunger in the forest or unknown area, there'll be always snakes around. You should know how to catch them and eat them. I said, okay. Well, that's a matter of survival. In many places you can't get the fresh fruit, but you'll always get snakes. Even in the deserts, we get snakes. Think about it. But I said, but isn't that poisonous? And for all the teachers who are dealing with, subjects like zoology and biology, they'll be aware of this, that the only poisonous part of the snake is its mouth. The remaining part of the body, the flesh, can be eaten. So the snake charmers know this, and the soldiers are trained in catching snakes and of course removing the venom. But otherwise the snake is very, very, very helpful in a situation of crisis where you have to somewhere deal with survival problems. So if you know how to catch a snake, then you can survive the toughest thing. But if you don't know how to catch a snake, it can kill you then and there. Look at a very simple formula of Chanakya Niti. Okay, so it's saying that be careful from three things. They can protect you or they can destroy you. Fire, king, and snake. So these are the simple examples that how do we actually think about strategic thinking with simple examples. This is what teachers should do. You may be having the greatest concepts depending on the subject that you teach, but the examples matter. In India, we have this whole concept of storytelling, something like a Rajaniti was told through stories in Panchatantra and Jataka tales and Ramayana and Mahabharata. So think about it, storytelling. So Chanakya was a great storyteller. Some people say even Vishnu Sharma, the name called Vishnu Sharma was actually Vishnu Gupta, because he also was training kings and Chanakya was also training kings. With that, I want to move to the next part of it, which is education. So I just give you a background about Chanakya. But before I go into education, I want to tell you, all of us sitting over here should be proud that he was a part of our profession. Very, very much, especially Mucta, as an organization, you may be aware that we're all teachers, and Chanakya was a teacher. And there's a very famous dialogue that came in the serial Chanakya by Dr. Chandraprakash Dwivedi. The serial is going on in Doordarshan also. You can watch it, I think 5 p.m. India time. And there is a dialogue which says, शिक्षक साधारण नहीं होता, प्रलय और निर्माण दोनों उसके गोद में खेलते हैं. A teacher is not ordinary. शिक्षक साधारण नहीं होता. प्रलय, that is destruction, and nirman, creation, both of them play in the lap of a teacher. Please understand this. Yesterday was Mother's Day. Okay. And a mother creates a child. Even a great leaders like Shivaji or Swami Vivekananda, they were not created somewhere else. They were created in the womb of the mother and the training of the mother. That's why we say, Matru Devo Bhava, then comes Pitru Devo Bhava, and then comes Acharya Devo Bhava. So one very important quality that Chanakya says everybody should develop as teachers is the softness of a mother. So teachers have to be strict whenever it is required, because Mother Nature can also take the roop of Bhadrakali when it is required. So mother is very loving. But look at the current situation. If she decides to be angry, she can destroy the whole thing. She is a Shakti. But a teacher's Shakti lies in knowledge. Please understand this. A teacher's Shakti lies in knowledge, and Chanakya wanted teachers to be motherly and knowledgeable. So Shikshak Sadharan nahi hota. Now coming to the next point, which is about education. Friends, please understand this. Human society has got some basic requirements. Every human society across the globe has got some basic requirements. To put it in a simple language, for survival, we require roti, kapda, makan. Everybody knows about it. We require something to eat. So today it's a survival of hunger. You look at all the migrants. So roti to chahiye, because you can't survive without food. Hunger is a very basic need of any particular living being. So human beings require roti. Kapda, to protect ourselves from this weather, we require to, dress ourselves very decently, nice, etc. And makan, we require shelter, food, clothing, shelter. Now, this is the first basic thing. But human beings are not animals. Please understand this. All the three basics are also required by animals. Okay. So animals also require something to eat, roti, kapda. They are lucky that they have some natural furs. Or at least, when they are domesticated, we'll at least protect them. But they also require some shelter. They go and stay in some house. They build their own nest, maybe some place. But we are not animals. Our human society, apart from roti, kapda, makan, one of the pillars of human civilization is education. Please understand this. Without education, no knowledge can survive. And without education, no system can survive. No human society can survive. So without knowledge, we can't go further. Friends, I was just quoting about my visits in different universities. So I remember I was in Oxford University, and we had gone there for a seminar, and there was a keynote speaker, very great management philosopher, very, very, very senior, and he was part of the valedictory function. And there was some person who asked a very interesting question, the Q&A that we typically have. And somebody asked you, what is the kind of a system that we as teachers, because all of them are teachers, should adapt to, and will the education sector ever die? This is a typical thing, like coronavirus is happening. So a lot of industries would get affected, the hotel industry, the travel industry. And this great management philosopher, think about it, he's in Oxford and the very senior guy. He said, everything can get destroyed, but the education system can't. Because the education system is the one which makes sure that the human society survives. So if the leaders, the political leaders, the thinkers understand the value of education, then the society progresses. So friends, be very proud that you're a part of, I would not call it an industry, because industry is a very commercial world. But yes, we have to work with industry because there's sort of financials involved, no doubt about it. But we are the people who create the industries. Remember one thing, if there is a CEO of a company, we created them. Teaching is a profession that created every profession. So friends, let me tell you the good news is that education will always be there. Maybe the formats will change. The change is there in every education system. Probably in the olden days, it was Gurukul system. Now it is all about, coming back and saying the state-led education system. The Britishers actually had a major contribution to do that, during the colonial period. Even our own Mumbai University, as all of you know, it was started in 19th century and 1857, and all those things, Bombay, Kolkata, Madras University, all started together. So this standardization of the education system is very, very new in a comparative in human history. But otherwise, the teachers had the freedom to decide what courses to take. They could decide the syllabus, they could take the examination on their own and all those things. So education will be part of it. But every particular country, every particular society decides how to evolve the education system. So maybe it was Gurukul system, it became state-led, and today we have private colleges also, and we have different models. And very interestingly, we are going through an online model. And there could be many parallel education systems also simultaneously. It's like we have the mainstream education, we have coaching classes, we have online classes, and great institutions like Udemy, and we have UN Academy. So all of you may be knowing, So education, don't worry about it. But what you have to worry is that whether the education is fulfilling the needs of the current generation. Very, very important. That is where Chanakya comes in, okay? Chanakya and his Nitis was not just about the past. It's also understanding the past, working in the present, but building the future. Tino kaal mein kaam karna chahiye, past, present, future. So what did Chanakya do in the education field? Let me tell you. He actually studied the past. Okay, so there is something called as Purvacharyas. If you study the Arthashastra, he studied the past. So Kautilya Arthashastra is not the first Arthashastra. There were previous Arthashastras also. Like suppose you are a physics teacher or a mathematics teacher. Do you think knowledge starts with you? No, there were previous mathematicians, physicians, teachers, whichever the field is. So study the best from the past. That is the first stage, okay? So education system always starts by studying the past. But remember, never get stuck in the past. That is also very important. You have to upgrade yourself. My spiritual guru and an organization that I'm connected with is Chinmaya Mission. Some of you must have heard about Chinmaya Mission. So Swami Chinmayanand used to tell something very nice. He say, every generation has got two responsibilities. To continue what is good in the past. Okay? To continue what is good in the past, but discontinue what is not relevant of the past. Please understand this. Don't get stuck in the past so much that you become fanatic about it. Sometimes we get so stuck. Yahi hona chahiye. Aisa nahi hota hai. So you have to discontinue which is irrelevant and upgrade it. So study the past is the first responsibility of the education system. So you have to study and say we have a great culture of education, and we should be proud that ours is not just a formal education system. Ours is also a spiritual education system. So even though you never taught in a formal university or a college, you are still considered as a teacher, right? From your mother, your father. Think about a saint culture that we have, the saints and sages. We have a Santa Parampara in this particular country. And the literature of saints, okay, which is called Santa Sahitya, is also part of our education system. In fact, I always say if you look at every particular community, culture, religion, kind of a custom that we follow, the books, the literature given by these great saints become part of the education system. They are the ones who give us more values. Isn't it true? So Kabir ke doha can also guide a complete generation. Ramayana Mahabharata is also there. So what am I telling you is that study the past, but the real teacher or the educationist try to give it a modern approach. So today, if you're going digital, why not? I think this could be the best platform ever. And I look at this coronavirus positively, saying that it has made us probably compulsory to adapt to the digital. We're always there, but it's almost like forcing us. Think about it, maybe almost 20, 30 years ago, correspondence course was the most important thing in Mumbai University. Any of you may understand, but everybody wanted to get educated. And the education system said, why only sit in the college or a university and do it? So even in Mumbai University, we have IDOL, so that's got a lot of students. They should study. So today, probably from a correspondence course, we are a generation that may go and actually make it an online course. So why not? So we teachers should actually accept. Remember, just online will never be enough, because you always believe that one-to-one contact is enough. So we say masses is online and digital, but the real class that happens is on a physical class. So I think we should have a combination of both. So with that, I would say that there are three things that education should go through, or educationists and students, all students who are also present, first you study the past. So if you want to be a great mathematician teacher, it doesn't start with you. You have to start studying the theories right from maybe Vedic mathematics to what happens in other cultures of mathematics. Study the past. Then you have to look at the applications and relevance in the present. That's a very important thing. Don't just glorify the past. The third is that build a future through your education. So that's the responsibility of the education system. A small little tips for the students who are attending it, because till now I've been only talking about teachers. In the Chanakya Niti and the Arthashastra, there are many qualities of a teacher and many qualities of a good student also. I would request all of you to actually go through my book. It is called Chanakya in the Classroom. You can go to Google, you can search. The book is called Chanakya in the Classroom. It tells how a teacher should be a good teacher and a student should be a good student, because teaching is never about whether the teacher was good or whether the student was good. Both of them have to be good in their own respective places. And there's a say, that if you have a teacher like Krishna and you have a student like Arjuna, then victory is guaranteed. Okay, so Arjuna came with the qualities of a good student. Please understand that. Even though he was a great warrior, see, please understand, warrior is a skill, but the attitude of Arjuna is what made him the best. Please understand, even Dronacharya, say he has to be my favorite, he's my favorite student. When Krishna says, if I have to give the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita also, I will only give it to the chosen one. He could have given it to anyone. So my dear students who are listening to it, here are some qualities that you should develop. And this is all coming from ancient literature and still works. I have tried this in my own life as a student, and I've seen a lot of benefits in that. The first one is Shraddha. The problem with Google is that you're too informed and maybe more informed than your own teachers. But when you enter into a classroom with the element of doubt, then you will never understand the knowledge. See, people have gone to such a different era of technology that they believe that Google Devata is everything. And the present Devata in front of you, the teacher, is never respected. And this was actually told by a professor of mine who was from IIM Ahmedabad. I was there at IIM Ahmedabad for a lecture. And this teacher told, we have the best and the most intelligent students from the whole country. Think about it. They're the brains of the brains with all the competitive exams they have passed. But in the last few years, I've seen the attention span is very less. So what happened? So in the olden days, whatever the teacher said in the classroom, we should just put it on the board and they should have complete attention. Today, actually, in the next 10 minutes, when a teacher enters the class, students start getting bored. Why? Then I found that intelligence is their problem. I said, intelligence is a problem? Yes. He said, intelligent they are, therefore, they already start Googling about everything that we are going to teach in the class. And the first 10 minutes, they get disconnected. Arey, ye to humko pata hai. Remember one thing, Google search is not research. Google search is not research. Google search can help you in research, but information is not enough. And if you're intelligent, and especially all the students, please understand this. You are more brilliant than teachers in the field of information and technology. But remember one thing, intelligence without Shraddha to the teacher is a dangerous thing, because that is where the ethical values come in. You can have a great tool called as the technology, the science and technology developments, and you're a better warrior when it comes to technology related things. The teacher may be outdated. Please understand, Shraddha in the teacher is very important. Chanakya talks about a very important quality of a leader. Please understand, all of us have to understand leadership is a very important quality. And he says one of the most important qualities of a leader is called Vriddha Sanyogaha. Vriddha means more experienced and wise people. Okay, the people, so you may be 21-year-old and you may be an entrepreneur who's already got a $1 billion idea. Your teacher may be 45, 55 years old in the class, but he or she is actually got experience. Because when a teacher takes a class, it is not about the theoretical knowledge on the board. Okay, it is not the theoretical. A part of the teacher comes along with the subject matter he or she is teaching. So remember, the teacher and the quality of teaching that comes is also important, but you as a student should know how to catch it. So Swami Chinmayananda just said, knowledge is never taught, knowledge is always caught. Okay, so do you have the quality of a student to catch everything coming from a teacher? A teacher may not have presentation skills. A lot of students have seen, they compare one teacher to the other teacher. One teacher has got great communication skills, great thing. Other teacher, may not have that kind of a presentation skill. But never look at the outward presentation. Look at the insight the teacher brings in. Okay, that little wisdom that comes with so many years of thinking about one subject in detail. Imagine a physics teacher or a mathematics teacher or a commerce teacher, whichever be the subject, or an arts teacher. Don't think he's just a teacher, a paid job. That person is spending 24/7, maybe 20, 30 years meditating on that subject. एक ही चीज को बार बार करके, and that one line that comes out of the teacher can change your life if you are a good student. Remember that E is equal to mc square is a formula. It doesn't just come out like that. And Newton, who is a researcher, he saw the apple falling. Many apple fell before him also and after him also. But that insight which got Newton to understand the law of gravity comes from his research. So please, students, have Shraddha on your teachers. Teachers are not just teachers in the classroom. They're thinkers 24/7. I'll repeat this again. Teachers are not teachers in the classroom, but they're thinkers 24/7. So develop Shraddha. The second important thing is that please respect your seniors. Unfortunately, we have this whole concept across the education system called bullying and ragging. Our education system was not like that. Our education system was that when the teacher is away, the senior student takes the class. Because even if he's 1 or 2 years more experienced than you, he can take something. I always say, be a student and a teacher lifelong, simultaneously. Be a teacher and a student. So if you are in 10th standard, you have to be a student of 10th standard, but you can teach somebody who's in 7th standard also, isn't it? Learn from somebody who's in 12th standard. So you can be a teacher and a student. Let me give you my own example. Even though I'm heading an institution, I'm a teacher. I'm also a student formally when I'm doing my DLit, a postdoctoral research. And I said, if the day I stop learning from my teachers, my seniors, I will never be a good teacher myself. So my dear students, please learn from your seniors. Of course, we get involved in a lot of projects in the colleges and schools. But along with that, वो 2 साल का अनुभव आपको दे सकता है. So students should learn from teachers with Shraddha and with the elder senior students with a bhava of having the right attitude. बड़े भैया से झगड़ा तो कर सकते हो, लेकिन बड़े भैया के बाद 2 साल का ज्यादा अनुभव है. So seniors. And the last important thing is that the student should be studious. That is a full-time responsibility of a student, isn't it? I'm not telling you don't study, don't have extracurricular activities, but please study. Unfortunately, full-time students don't study. And the part-time students actually study better. I have seen this in the Mumbai University. Most of my students are working professionals. We run this master's degree program in leadership science. And the new admission is starting. So anybody is interested, we'll send you the details. So interestingly, these students are very, very serious students. They're in CEOs of companies and all those things. And interestingly, when we look at it, they don't have time. But actually they do better because they believe that the knowledge that they want, they will catch it very fast. And sometimes I feel very bad who are supposed to be in schools and colleges full-time, actually study only to give exams. Remember one thing, studiousness is not about giving your presentation in writing during the 3 hours of exam. No. A student should be studious throughout. In fact, there is a saying that we only study for exams. Our education system also unfortunately has become an examination system. Isn't it true? So we as teachers are thinking how to make it project-based, how to make it more activity-based. Well, the Britishers started as an examination system and a degree system. So give a degree and you're done. I'm not saying we should not give degrees, but you have to understand today it's becoming project-based, application-based, academy-industry partnership. So what is very important that please keep studying, not to get a degree or a job. Study for the sake of acquiring knowledge. And one important quality is that study your subject and study the other subjects also. It is called the 80-20 rule. What is the 80-20 rule? 80% if you study, it should be about your subject that you're enrolled for. But 20% don't just study. Suppose you are specializing in, let's say, sociology. Don't study sociology. Try to study some about psychology. Try to study some English literature, Hindi literature, Sanskrit literature. So when you go to a library, spend time understanding what's happening in the other fields. So there's a saying, what do cricketers know if they know only about cricket? Correct? So what do a student know if he only is about his field? So you should study in the other fields also, get yourself updated. I'm not telling you spend all the time and forget your subject. So if you're an engineering student, you should study engineering. But go and try to understand what's happening, discuss with others. Study all subjects and don't forget to study your own subject. Okay, friends. So I just told about the first 2 things about Chanakya, about the education system. Now we'll come to the modern education system and what all things we can learn from Chanakya. See, Chanakya, as I told you, was a leadership guru. Okay, and there is a saying, Raja Kalasya Karanam. Raja Kalasya Karanam. One thing which the modern education system is debating, discussing, and thriving to come out is to understand how to create not just students who will get jobs, but students who will actually create jobs. Sorry, not just get jobs, but who will create jobs. And it's a very good trend because till our generation, and we were born in a very poor India, it was more about survival. And the only thing that we knew is actually about getting a job. So if you look at that, the trend still continues. We look at government job, look at competitive exams. If you're in Bombay, then you look at probably a corporate job. But the thing is that we have to understand the modern education system is not just about skill based to get a job, but the reality is that we have to start thinking, how do we install leadership qualities in the students? Okay, please understand this. Our children should not be trained to become followers. They should be trained to become leaders. What does it mean? So let me give an example. Of course, today there is a subject called leadership also as a separate branch, but it's like saying that mathematics is the foundation. It's a basic knowledge. Okay, as we say in education, there are 3 R's. R is reading, writing, and mathematics. So when you go to a school, these are the basic 3 things that you teach. First is how to read and write, reading, then writing, and arithmetic, how to count. The reality is that in Chanakya Niti, the first subject is not reading, writing, or arithmetic. It is how to think. Yeah, and the subject is called Anvikshiki. Please carefully remember this word. You can. There's a book also I've written on that. Anvikshiki. What is Anvikshiki? Anvikshiki means anvekshan. The Sanskrit word, the ability to think and inquire. In fact, the CBI, Central Bureau of Investigation, that is the government of India, which detects all the frauds. What is CBI called in Hindi? Hindi mein anuvad karenge, usse kehte Kendriya Anvekshan Bureau. So what is the beauty of our education system that we can bring back to the modern education? Teach the children to inquire, have the curiosity, the ability to question. Now, please understand, modern education should not be doubting the teacher, but questioning the teacher. There's a difference between doubting the teacher and questioning the teacher. In fact, a good student will have a curiosity. Teacher, kitna acha bataya, thank you so much. Lekin ek baat mujhe samajh mein nahi aayi. So that curiosity is good. And that also keeps you learning. So one of the things that is required is to actually build the curiosity levels, the investigative methodology. In fact, Dr. Shoba Joshi, my PhD teacher, always said is that in our ancient education system, we had something called as logic as a basic subject. Can you believe it? Logic today has been taught in a lot of law colleges and all. But logic is a part of philosophy. Saying that if you don't know how to think logically, you can never succeed in life. Look at all this problem that we are having with COVID-19 and Corona problem. Today we are looking at statistics, but many people don't understand it, how to take logical decisions. So very important that introduce thinking in the modern day education. Unfortunately, all the thinking happens in the American universities and we are just followers. Why can't we think about how to create thinkers, researchers, scholars? So it's very, very important to introduce a subject of how to think. Of course, Chanakya has formalized that in Anvikshiki. I'll not go into that. But let me tell you, thinking is very natural to human beings. That is what makes them different from the animals. So if you look at a dog, it will just go and come in the same route. It doesn't even know how to cross its border because somewhere they also have a natural line. एक कुत्ता अपने दूसरे गली में भी नहीं जाता है. हर कुत्ता अपने गली में share होता है. So they have never seen. And a fish is always there in the pond only. But human beings are different. Human beings want to explore, understand, and make things better than what they found it. For example, the honeybee comb, beautiful example that is given. Honeybee comb, if you look at the design, it's a very beautiful hexagonal design. Everybody loves to see the honeybee collecting the flowers and then, storing it. But if 5,000 years ago, honeybee always had the same model and the same design. And it still did the same thing, go and collect from flower to flower and put it over there. Not a single honeybee thought, can we make the design better? Why is it brown in color? Pink is a nice color, So on Mother's Day, today we'll paint that honeybee comb as pink. And every time I have to go and collect, why can't we store it for the rainy days? That honeybee hunter comes, he takes away all the honey. He doesn't think, yaar, ye to dushman hai, iske against hum log kaise protect kare? That is why it's called an insect. Human beings are not insect or animals. They are thinkers. They can question. Therefore, every human being comes with an original idea. In the modern education system, we need to respect those ideas. How do we do that? Please understand, a teacher should encourage ideas And students should also understand that teachers come with Shraddha. So that's a beautiful combination, because sometimes ideation can actually go to the level of questioning teachers. That's a very interesting thing. In the Western model, there is something called as individualism. I believe there's a freedom of thought. Who said that freedom of thought should not be there? But freedom of thought doesn't mean you only go to a level that you forget what is happening around. So what is very important is that teachers should understand to accept ideas. In fact, on 20th of June, there is a worldwide day. It's called the World Humanist Day. I don't know if you know about this particular concept. They believe, the American Humanist Association, all these ideas of human rights and all came on from there. So they say every human being is unique because every human being has got unique ideas. If you know how to respect those ideas, okay, and guide the child to develop those ideas, he or she will be a world #1 in that particular field. So the modern education system, according to Chanakya, should understand the concept of uniqueness. So if you're sitting in a class of 60, and I know we teachers debate this and think that class mein 60 log baithe, I can't give individual attention. But today we have tools, isn't it? So we have personality tools. We can map the students. We have, a lot of modern psychological tools. And so even if you're 60, but everybody is unique, isn't it? So for example, my teacher told me that you're a good writer. That's something I'm very fortunate. Then, you're a good writer. So I wrote my research papers, I wrote books. That was unique in me. I may have studied the same book. I may have studied the same subject. So what is very important, that modern education system should actually encourage something called as uniqueness. So can we look at a system to map the unique student? And also very important is give personal mentoring. Dekhiye, mentors is something that is required in every field. Okay. Think about Sachin Tendulkar. He was a great, talented cricketer. All of you know it. But he also required a Ramakant Achrekar, isn't it true? So you may be born talented, but you require training also. So what's very important is that think about how to help people think better. They may be out of the box thinker, they may be unique thinker. So you have to create a system to actually help people to think better. So the first thing is create a thinking system, which is introduced in the education system. Chanakya introduced Anvikshiki. The second important thing is actually, which I mentioned, is create leadership. Because this generation may not be only looking at jobs for themselves, they may be thinking about creating jobs. And today is a buzz everywhere about entrepreneurship. And I'm sure many of the colleges and the university departments have entrepreneur cell, e-cells. But unfortunately, they're not being trained. Therefore, a lot of startups fail. Very important. So what is a startup? Startup is an enterprise the young boy or the girl along with his friends wants to create. Remember one thing, enterprise comes from a word called as enterprising. So if you don't have that josh, you cannot be an enterpriser by saying ho jayega. Karna padta hai. So the youth is not useless. They are not guided well. Youth is not useless. They're not even used well, as they say. So use their ideas, give them some projects, give them some direction, make them think like leaders. Unfortunately, till now, we are making them think like followers. मैं जो बोलता हूँ वो करो. ना. Think them. Your original thought. Give them some projects. This is what I did in Mumbai University also. Teaching leadership theory तो हमने सिखा दिया आपको. अब आपके field में apply करो. And give them small projects. And luckily we have a system where now we have assessment, 20 marks, 20%, whatever it is. So as teachers, we have to say, listen, what we are learning from outside is that knowledge, if not applied, is not knowledge. So you should have a pure knowledge and applied knowledge also. So how did the applied knowledge come? So the education system should actually look at probably creating the culture of leadership among students. They may be sports leaders. It's okay, you're a very good sports leader. Can you make a career out of it? Teacher, pata nahi. Then you should think about, oh, there is a sports management industry. Just to tell you all of you, it's a very, very interesting industry. I'm involved. So I was a part of a revolution that happened in India because of cricket. I worked in a company called as WorldTel, which actually gave Sachin Tendulkar 20 years ago 100 crore deal. Now I'm part of a very interesting project with the the whole government machinery, where we are actually looking at football as a major change. Kabaddi, a lot of games that you play. So if you're a good player, teachers should tell you you're a player, but you don't have to go and take up a job just for the sake of having some roti kapda makan. You can say, okay, sports management is a field, and believe me, the kind of funds we have in the sports field is amazing. So what is important is to develop the leadership qualities and saying that ये subject knowledge है, but इसके बाद आपको leadership करके initiative लेना होगा. You will have to go and create an enterprise. So can you start an enterprise depending on your field? So this is a very important requirement of a modern education. The third and the important thing which I want to actually talk about modern education is actually research. It's very, very important that, we just read books and then it's over. And we actually benefit from the research of others. So if you look at all the journals, I also keep learning from a lot of management journals and different journals, And if you look at newspapers, here is a secret for all of you. If you look at all newspapers, pick up anything, Maharashtra Times, Mumbai Times, you know what they do? They actually take the statistics and research of something done in the American universities and they quote it. Isn't it true? The statistics is not our research. There's, some Michigan University professor did that and we'll show the statistics. Nothing wrong. If he's doing research, we should respect that particular person. What is happening in other countries? But can't we create a research culture? It's already started in India. I'm not telling you it's not started, but it is not enough. It is not enough. I think we should create a modern education system where research is the future. Therefore, remember, it is said R&D, research and development. If you want to develop your society, the base should be research. Unfortunately, we are only studying for exams. Okay. So somebody said, before the exams, I am wise. I study everything. After the exams, I am wise. I know everything. But during the exam, I'm otherwise. So I forgot what to do. So ours is that 3 hours of, remembrance and memory. No. Education system should encourage research. Chanakya did research on Arthashastra. If you are from your field, you should do research in that particular field and then bring out your own models and try it. So it's very important to focus on research. And let me tell you, in our own Mumbai University and various universities, there's huge research funds. Huge, okay. Unfortunately, we don't know the bureaucratic method because the proposals go from this person to that person. But I'll tell you a secret, my dear friends, and a very open secret. Okay, this is very, very important for all teachers. I have 5,000 numbers here. When I came to the Mumbai University, I came as a researcher. Who actually bought funds from the corporate world to the university. And you'd be surprised, even at the Chanakya International Institute of Leadership Studies, I've got 2 crores for doing research from the industry. So you don't have to wait only for the government to fund you. You should know how to make proposals. And luckily, you'll be surprised, India is currently on a very good level where, people are looking at, collaborating with IITs, the kind of funds available. But unfortunately, we don't have a research mindset. पहले लगता था कि research करने के लिए पैसा नहीं है. अभी पैसा है लेकिन proposal बना के approach कैसे करना है वो पता नहीं. Okay, so why am I telling you all these, friends, is that if you want to do research today, it can be a full-time career. Okay, it can give you a lot of money. And let me also tell you, research is the way to make lots of money also with the new concepts of, intellectual property, patent, copyright. These are not small things. If a researcher can actually develop a product and make it legally thing, you can also monetize it. See, monetization is a secondary thing. Don't do it research for the sake of money. But let me tell you, researchers, an original researcher with legally protected copyrights or intellectual property can make huge money. Huge money. So what I'm saying, that's a career that can happen through research. So we have to bring in that culture in the modern education. Chanakya said this, that Anvikshiki, Sankhya Yoga Lokayata. So what is Anvikshiki? How to think Sankhya. It's a philosophy that comes in Bhagavad Gita, but Mahabharata says that Sankhya is also Sankhya. Look at numbers, data analysis. Research is about qualitative, quantitative. Sankhya Yoga. When you do research, you should have a calm mindset. Sit in the library, sit in the laboratory, think about it. So you should do research with a lot of calm mindset. And Lokayata, it should be beneficial to the society. Okay, your ideas should be able to go to the society. And I'll tell you, let me give you an example. Whenever I visit the American universities, I find this research culture over there to such an extent that I wonder that why are we not able to get it over here? Then one of the professors told me, you have to understand one very important thing is that research is a part of our education system, is only one part of it. Research is the demand for our country. I said, I didn't understand. Okay, he said, look at the IT industry, the software industry. Okay, so we have something called a Silicon Valley. I've been never to Silicon Valley, but he says, you know what, the Silicon Valley, it's a different dance and a drama. I said, okay, what do you mean by that? So if you look at the Silicon Valley, they're all surrounded by universities. And you'd be surprised, they call young boys and girls and say, present an idea in the university, we will fund you. I don't know if you ever get interested in TED Talks, TED Talks. Some of you must have seen TEDx Talks. So some colleges also have TEDx, chapters in your colleges. TED, actually is a word which is called technology, entertainment, and design. You know how this concept started? So a lot of young boys and girls, they want to do research in American universities. So, they will get some funding from here and there. But the industry came and saying that, listen, okay, you make a pitch to me. Okay, you present your idea. It could be technology, it could be entertainment. So, entertainment also is a very creative space, or it could be some new design. So then you make a presentation And if you like that presentation, we'll fund you. So it started with TED. And what used to happen is that people used to come and present, all the industrialists and the government bureaucrats or whoever is interested in funding will sit over there. And remember, the golden rule is you cannot make a pitch more than 18 minutes. So when we have vivas, we say, zyada nahi baat karne ka. 18 minutes, you can pitch the idea. Okay, we like it, we fund you. But you know what? After 10 students who wish to present in these universities and with the industry coming in, maybe 2 of them will get funding. So one person said something very interesting. How do we know that the remaining 8 people are not good in their ideas? Maybe I like the 2 ideas sitting in this classroom of 20 people, but there's a world. So what they did is that they say, okay, every presentation will be put on the internet. And you'd be surprised that 8 people who could not get funding, at least their ideas will reach millions. And believe me, those 8 people also will get funding from somewhere else. So this is the modern day education. If there is a student who has got an idea, we have to create a platform to listen to the student. The student should also have a responsibility saying that don't just give an idea, give a plan. Very, very important, you know. Ideation is okay. I always tell him, if you do a business, don't just give business ideas. Show me a business plan. Okay, so it's very important to put it logically. There's a method of presentation saying that this is the concept note, this is the process and all. So if Ola is becoming big, it is because he's presented the idea very well. And let me tell you, my dear friends, it's amazing that all of us are in a golden era, especially people from Mumbai. It's a financial capital. Forget this COVID problem. It will very well get over. But you have to think about ideation. Okay, so R&D culture. Achha, a couple of things more, and then I will try and wind up. Okay, we have lived in a generation of competition. So everything is about competition. My goodness, when I go to schools, and especially I request all the parents, please, for heaven's sake, don't get into the competitive mode. You will make those children, you know, literally, you know, jealous, angry, looking at numbers. What kind of a society are we creating? So yes, competition is good as long as you're competing with yourself. I should be better than myself. But this is a generation, especially Mumbai University and all the teachers from across the world should understand this. Ours is a generation which has to move our modern education from competition to collaboration. Remember, from competition to collaboration. If I am good at my field, you are good at your field, let us collaborate together. Okay? Aap ye kar rahe ho, main ye kar raha hu. See, remember one thing, nobody can be perfect in everything. But if somebody is perfect in one thing and somebody else is perfect in another thing, bring them together. It's a concept called synergy. So instead of fighting against each other, let us together fight against a bigger problem. Instead of fighting against each other, let us fight against a bigger problem. So what is a social problem? Okay, there's a social problem. We all come together, and you know, we saw Mucta doing such a wonderful work. It's all collaborative model. All teachers come together, students come together. So education system should encourage not just competition, but collaboration. And yes, for the sports field, it is okay to compete and get the gold medal. But even in sports field, it is said you should have competitive spirit, or competition spirit is sportsman spirit, you know. So even if you lose, you should go and shake hands saying, "ठीक है, आज जीत लिया, बड़े भैया, thank you so much. अगली बार surely तुम्हें हराऊंगा." So there has to be a humor element in competition also. Otherwise, it can become a negative mindset. Jealousy, anger, frustration, trying to backbite. What kind of a generation we are doing? So now let us encourage saying that everybody is unique and everybody can collaborate with each other. And finally, I like to wind up with one point which a modern education system should do, and it's called publication. I tell you, publication. I know. No, today for teachers it's a minimum thing, you know, write for research journals and all. No. I want to tell you the modes of publication is very important because the ideas can reach out to the world. So let me tell you the different types of publications. Not many people are aware of this. Okay. So suppose you got an idea, you should know how to present it. Okay. The best form of publication is to write a book. Okay, so there is a way. Book reaches. Okay. Second is to actually write research papers in research journals, right? The third publication is called research articles. Okay, since I guide a lot of PhD students, I'll tell you, writing a PhD thesis is a 4-year kind of a project. As all of the people know this, it's a different way of writing. I'm not telling you to go into that level to begin with. You can have a published PhD thesis which will turn around the whole world. In fact, Corporate Chanakya, my book, is actually a research done before 4.5 years, and it's created a revolution. I'm not talking about that. So if you can write a book, that's a different project, do that. What I'm saying is that why don't you start writing small research journals, which is already there. Okay. The third is start writing some articles. And many times people get who is going to publish? Now here is the beauty. Today you can do something called as self-publishing. If not self-publishing, there is something you can simply do. It's called blogging. If you got an idea, why keep it to yourself? Modern education system should encourage young boys and girls to publish, if possible, in the academic fraternity, in the academic format. If not, it's okay. Likho. But you never know which idea can create a revolution. In fact, I'll tell you, all the teachers I'm requesting after this program is over, please go and check. Okay, please go and check an interesting website called as Worldometer. Okay, so many people now look at it because it gives you statistics of how many countries have got how many patients of coronavirus. Worldometer, just go and Google it. And don't just look at this coronavirus stat, just go down. I was quite surprised. It gives you statistics across what's happening, the government expenditure. So it's like, what is the world's population today? Real-time updates they give you. What is the status of coronavirus today? Everybody picks up. And when I was going down, it gives you a lot of statistics. Interestingly, there is a statistics of blogging. How many people blog every day? And I was surprised that the number of bloggers are higher than the number of books published in a whole year. Let me tell you this, the number of blogs that is published every single day is higher than the whole books published in the whole year. And I'm saying, what is this? And then I realized it's all coming from universities. Yes, they're students, they're researchers. You don't have to wait for the other people to say, your publication is not good, I will reject it on a peer review and somebody. No, okay, you have to go into that level also. But think if you got an idea, publish it on a blog or maybe on a LinkedIn. So if you're a professional, because remember, if you're on LinkedIn and you've got a 500 followers, that is also a big start. So start writing articles. Small articles give you confidence. And when you get the comments and say, okay, here is a nice person who has actually given an idea. Slowly you build the confidence. I just want to tell that I started actually writing a small articles right from my school days. Then of course I wrote in various journals, newspapers. I used to write for Mumbai Mirror, so many articles. And slowly I became an author. So if you want to be an author, and of course a published author, that's the highest level thing, but start small. So I like to just tell that, it's very important to start encouraging everyone, including ourselves as teachers and students, to start writing. So I want to just summarize before I take up the questions. The first one is I spoke on Chanakya. Remember, Chanakya was a teacher and we are all part of the education system. We should be proud that he's part of our community. I spoke about Chanakya. Second, I spoke about the education system in general. So remember, education system is an important need of the society. It's a basic need of the society after roti kapda makan. It will never die. But education system should never be just of the past. Learn from the past, understand the current situation, and build your system for the future. And the third thing I spoke is about modern education. The tips that I gave is basically we need to change our system from education system, from a examination system to an education system. From competition to collaboration. Please understand, research is the future of every education system. Focus on that, funds are available. And of course, competition to collaboration. And the last point is please do research and publish it in whatever format. Publication will give you a large audience who will appreciate ideas and you'll become successful in life. This is my topic, that is Chanakya Niti and modern education. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. And what an opportunity to listen through the horse's mouth, the author of the book. And it was indeed a pleasure for all of us. Let me tell you, around 2,500 viewers were there currently, and the viewers list has gone up to 4,000 plus. So I think that was a success of the entire team who had managed this program to happen. Questions I have, as you said rightly, and the Chanakya says, I quote, मनुष्य स्वयं ही अपने कर्मों द्वारा जीवन में दुख आमंत्रित करता है, as said by Chanakya, unquote. I think that is what you have said, that how the teacher should take it further, and then only you can really become successful. And a very good message that which you have given, that go for publication. I think yes, 100 things are said, but one thing is written. I think that becomes a document, and that goes to generations together.
Yes.
I think that is a very good message to the teachers community which are there today with us. I'll take one or two questions and then I'll hand over. Dr. Praveen is asking, principals are taking special training of Chanakya Niti. Is it true?
The answer is yes. The reason is that, and I've been fortunate to be part of that particular training faculty also. So I'll tell you what, this is happening across India. So I've been part of some meetings of the national education policy. Okay, please understand this. In the national education policy, we are saying that we need to look at modern education with Indian education. So we should not say the things coming from West is bad. So we have to be global with an Indian approach. So one of the things that they're saying is that, can we also introduce Indian knowledge systems? Please understand, Indian knowledge system is a vast knowledge system, right from the Vedic days to modern leaders, maybe like an Ambedkar or a Nehru or even a Modi as an example. That is at the leadership level. But what is important is that there is so much traditional wisdom available in many of the Indian darshanas and philosophies. Like if you know the Indian philosophies, yoga has become very famous already. So yoga has become a part of the mainstream education. Tarka, Nyaya, so many things, So in that, there is a great movement that has happened saying that we should also introduce Chanakya. Now, I've been called for certain meetings and I've been doing. In fact, I'll tell you, I've been so fortunate that I've at least personally directly trained more than, 800 principals of colleges and schools, Kendriya Vidyalayas have been calling me, a lot of this Rajya Sabha MPs and all those things. My humble thing is that, if you get an opportunity to get trained in Chanakya Niti, do it. If not, start yourself. I'm available if the platform wants to do a proper modulated course. But I believe that not only Chanakya, but anything that we find good in India should become a part of system. Maybe Ayurveda, maybe Ganita Shastra, whatever, So think about it. So I think Chanakya Niti is coming back in a very big way. I just want to quote something which happened in an international conference. The government of India, the Defense Ministry and the External Affairs Ministry had organized a seminar in Delhi. And that time, this is an organization called as IDSA, Institute of Defense Services and Analysis. So it's a think tank of the government of India where they plan a lot of military science and military strategies. And 3 years, we did this particular program in Delhi. And of course, it was funded by, as I told you, the ministries and all. So we had Shiva Shankar Menon, the previous national security advisor. So we were all sitting. And there were a lot of scholars coming from abroad. And there was a Bangladeshi professor, I remember, from Dhaka University. And we were just, teachers were discussing this many years ago, saying that we should introduce Chanakya Niti so that children can think strategically and become leaders. Chanakya was saying. And this Bangladeshi professor from Dhaka University said, we in Bangladesh have this idea that every school mein bacha Chanakya Niti seekhta hai. And we all saying that, Acha, I wish it was true. So from that time onwards, there has been I've been on a personal mission mode that why not introduce Chanakya Niti and every other Indian knowledge system, It could be Tukaram's Abhanga. It could be the modern philosophies of Ambedkar. It could be anything that you believe in, Buddha's theories or Mahavir's theory. See, please understand, Chanakya Niti is my contribution. My contribution to think like leadership, but why not? So coming back, the reality is true that it is happening in a big way. And if knowledge has to be taken forward, there is a saying, you should train the trainers. And in fact, you should teach the teachers. And why not? Best is to teach the principals only because they are the leaders also in the education system. So yes, that's true. And any contribution that Mucta wants from my side, I'll be happy to do that also. Please introduce that in your colleges. And with the whole autonomous thing coming up in a big way, why don't you introduce small courses? I will give you completely all training available so you can do the modules on your own. Thank you, sir, for the question.
Sir, that is why we have started our 2 cells. That one cell is a teacher's training cell.
Yes.
Shikshak Prashikshan cell.
Yes.
Even though we teachers are having lots of knowledge, but still we have the training for our fields, different fields.
Yes.
And that is what the purpose behind that starting our cells.
Very nice, sir. Very nice, sir.
Yeah. Please have any question? Please take the questions.
So this is very good comment from Madan.
Yeah.
What you have said about teachers are not ordinary. Appreciated that comment. And one Mr. Amol Murgi is saying that altogether all these days I have attended many webinars, but this webinar I am not attending for the purpose of certificate, but to get the knowledge. I think that is the biggest compliment which has been. Question, sir, please.
Kiran sir, any question? Kiran sir.
Unmute your mic, sir. Unmute your mic. Kiran, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, by the time that question comes,
hello.
Yeah.
So by the time that question comes, I would like to ask one question to you.
Yeah.
You have been to international universities, visited so many libraries there, and regarding, as you also said, regarding the research culture,
yeah,
what you have seen there.
Yeah, yeah.
So what is your opinion? I mean, where we have to improve ourselves?
Yeah. So improvement can happen in multiple ways. Okay. And see, for example, I said it's actually creating a research culture. Okay, culture doesn't happen just by one person. It's like agar ghar pe culture hai, everybody contributes, isn't it? So the wife would contribute, the mother would contribute, the son also contributes, the grandfather also contributes, the grandmother. So the question is that when a research culture has to be done, a lot of people have to come together. So the government policies is important. Industry can come for funding. Students should be interested in research. Teachers should be interested in research. So it is not about saying that the policy ban gaya government ka. In fact, I'll tell you, there's a friend of mine who works with the finance ministry. He was telling every year more than 8,000 crores gets written off from the national budget because nobody applies for research projects. हमको तो पता ही नहीं है और उनको भी पता नहीं because the moment we apply it goes into another loop. So the idea is basically by the time you say 50,000 रुपए से अच्छा हम लोग हमारे कॉलेज में खुद ही ऑर्गेनाइज कर लेंगे. So there is a holistic thing that has to happen, that the government has to take a decision, the bureaucrats have to take some decision, the teachers have to take a decision. But I'll tell you very simply, I don't want to blame the other people. हम क्या कर सकते हैं as teachers? Exactly. I'll give you one simple tip and formula. Please encourage people to sit down in a library and read physical books. Okay, if you can do that. Okay, unfortunately, libraries are not getting used, and there is a whole mindset. Okay, that e-books is the replacement for physical books. I always believe e-books are good for storages, for collection, but library has got its own beauty. Physical books has got own beauty. So what I have done, and I can tell all of you also should try and do this, is basically if you have a college library or a part of the university, make it compulsory to people and go and sit in the library. Even if you have a mobile, students will react and all this, but make it a rule. First time it is pushing them. Second time it's pushing them. Third time over a period of time, they'll start enjoying the books. So the simple rule is that encourage library culture. I just want to give you one example. In the universities in US, since you asked about my international visits, the reading culture in libraries is not just for college or university students, it is for the whole society. So if you go abroad, you will find there is something called as public libraries. Like every station ke bahar there's a public library, and that is very well, and the government has funded it. America is great because of its reading culture, the research culture, the university culture. So I just want to tell you one example. I was in New York. So one of my friends, Indian professor over there, he took me to his university and Binghamton. So one of the universities, New York State universities. And then मैं ऐसे बात करता research culture like this, So this friend of mine said, Radha, तुम्हें क्या है research culture देखना है क्या? हाँ. So he will say, चलो, it is a library culture. हाँ, सब लोग book पढ़ते हैं. नहीं, I will take you. So it took me a huge library of 3 floors and all those things. So I was standing outside. So he said, जाओ, librarian से बात करो. And I said, I don't know the librarian. Try. I'm standing here. I just went to the library and asked, how many books are there? She just looked at the computer and all those things. So many books are there. Is there any book of Chanakya, of leadership? Haan. Then she said, okay, then can I have a look at the books? Go inside and all those things. So I went around. This professor friend was standing outside. And after that 15-20 minutes, I came back. I said, अंदर क्यों नहीं आए? बोलो वो सब छोड़ो. क्या सीखा? क्या सीखा? अच्छा लाइब्रेरी है, कोई भी आया. आई कार्ड पूछा क्या? What I card पूछा क्या? तो बोला that librarian doesn't even know you, isn't it? No. And I was sitting behind. You just ask for a book and say ले लो, अंदर जाओ. तो can you believe it? अपने यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम ऐसा हो गया है कि कुछ भी करने के लिए परमिशन. राम. कहाँ पे राशन कार्ड के भी परमिशन. There is a document. They say that, and he said in that university, anybody from the town can come. A mother can come, and no requirement of I card and all those things. Okay. What I'm saying is that can you break that barrier कि library में जाने के लिए कोई student ही होना चाहिए? In your own society, suppose you're in a small group, tell them, create some lectures in the library rooms. So what I said is that the first thing that we should do in research culture is to help research by studying the past. So books are a very good document. So the revolution can be created, but as I say, what is your contribution? हम हमारे college में कर सकते हैं. मैंने आपको एक ही tip दिया है कि library को use करो. That is a great starting point of research. If library is utilized, research culture is a byproduct. Please understand this. And if you want to frame some rules and please do that. But encourage students and non-students to come and spend time in the library. The most important happy person will be the librarian itself. Thank you.
Sir, is it I'm audible, sir?
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Sir, there is lots of question from the various professors and participants. The common question is, the most of participants are asking, what is your view after this COVID-19? What shall be the change we have to make, or the government should be adopt for the economy as well as particularly for the education system?
So let me tell you, I'm a very positive person. Okay, I'm very clear, and it has been proven statistically that things are only going to get better. Okay, it's only going to get better. The only point right now is about finding the vaccine. Please understand this. Right now, the numbers statistically are growing everywhere, but the vaccine is almost close to, it's already been seen in our own country and many countries that say we have done it. So it is going through a trial and error period right now. The moment the vaccine is ready and the mass production happens, people will be back to work. It may take 2 months or 3 months, whatever. But the way I look at it, that if you look at September is where practically things will take off. Already the restarting has started. Please understand, it's not starting, it's restarting. वो machine बंद पड़ा है, उसको फिर से oiling करके शुरू करना है. वो थोड़ा time लगेगा. So I believe positively that there's one thing that will help the government to decide when to start is when we find the vaccine. Then people will say कि जब vaccine लेके काम पे जाओ. It will take another 1 or 2 months, no doubt about it. But September is a deadline. Maximum December. December के ऊपर अगर हो गया तो शायद लोग बिना कोरोना के मर जाएंगे. So government is already starting the semi-lockdowns getting opened up and all this. So don't worry about it. Now,
so what is the future of online teaching? Is it going to?
It is not the
back
future.
To the classroom, or online teaching is going to be continue in the same way? It's going to be replace the classroom teaching in the future.
Okay, so that is where Chanakya Niti comes in. Okay, if you adapt strategically to online teaching, you will get more students in a physical classroom.
Okay.
So don't think it's an enemy. It's actually your biggest marketing tool. Today we are getting 5,000 people together, isn't it true? And when Padma Madam actually gave a speech about what a college is doing, indirectly she's already created some students for herself, isn't it true? So when Mucta is talking about it, so I think online is the most best platform to attract physical students. So it's going to be there. Online will have large numbers, classroom will have computer, but you need to understand it is not online versus physical. It is online and physical. Physical can never be replaced, but online is the future. And Peter Drucker, one of the management gurus, says, don't look this as the future. The future has already happened. So it is not the future, it has already happened. We are already part of the online revolution. The hoga nahi, ho chuka hai. Maybe we are late, okay? Maybe we are late. So let us adapt fast, let's be agile and adapt technology and online to actually grow our physical. Harvard gives a lot of online free education, okay? But that actually attracts them physical students and they get paid a lot. So the whole idea is that encourage and go into online to actually make your physical better. But physical will never replace online.
And so most of the teachers are worried about the students are not having the concentration.
Yeah. True.
You said cultivate the leadership scenario in the amongst the student, but students are not ready to listen the lecture at all. So forget about the classroom. How they are going to be learn online if they are not able? So how to motivate them, or what are the things we have to do for encourage student to more and more participation in education system?
Okay, so first of all, it is not a problem of the education or only the teaching community is facing this problem. It's a social problem. So lack of concentration happens in classrooms, but lack of concentration happens in home also, right? As parents, some of you must have seen this also. कि बच्चा एक बार मोबाइल लेके बैठ गया तो सुनता ही नहीं है. And the addiction has become so high. So it's a social psychological problem. So I think what we should do is two things, okay? Number one is to understand that online or the mobile revolution cannot stop. Now, what we are worried about is one particular thing called as attention span. Please understand, that's what the teachers say. बाहर जाके मोबाइल देखो मेरे क्लास में जब बैठोगे, you should have complete attention. So I would say 2-3 tips that we can do is, number one, get a little bit more disciplined. Don't be too strict, don't be too soft. So I think what is very important is like how children are trained in schools, कि आपको time पे आना है. So can we actually look at probably the mobile being kept away for, that 40 minutes of the class, which some of you must have tried. The mind will go. But what is interesting, keeping the mobile away is not enough, okay? the teacher should also make it so interesting. So keeping the mobile away, the mind will be active. So it also depends on the teacher and how he or she can actually make it interesting. Because that's why, if attention span is not there, like look at my seminar, everybody is equally looking at me with attention. I can see that, how many people are actually looking at your mobile. Or beech mein jata hai. So the one thing I would say is that let us look at some discipline and rule, because they're young boys and girls, they're full of energy. They're bachchas in one way. If you look at it, they're teenagers, right? For them, they live in internet. For them, it is not also internet. They actually live in internet first and then come to this physical classroom. The physical classroom for them is an addition. So they actually live in this world. So you have to somewhere pull them into this world by some strict rules. हम घर पे बच्चों को भी बोलते हैं ना, भैया अभी खाना खाने के टाइम टीवी नहीं देखना, तो class है. So somehow, but the other important thing for teachers is you have to actually develop your new research methodologies and teaching methodologies to make it interesting. Discussion हो सकता है, videos दिखाओ उनको, so there are a lot of technology that we anyway using. So keeping the mobile away is one way of taking the attention, but the attention should be given to good things also. So I think it's a parallel thing. Control of the technology as an instrument, as a device, but encouraging your own presentation skills to make it interesting. That is also important. If you match somewhere, we'll get the success somewhere in between.
So I want to ask one thing.
Yeah.
It's a sort of question.
Yeah.
Regarding the application of Chanakya Niti in the education. Is any working is going on in Toto model from the Chanakya Niti application from the primary sector of the education, because we all participants are the higher education, means college teachers.
Yes.
So is any working in Toto is going on?
Yeah.
In our Indian platform?
Yes.
That the including primary, secondary and all the education sectors.
Yes. Thank you for this question, ma'am, because Suvarna ma'am, you'd be happy to know I have written a book called as Chatur Chanakya. It is for children's. Okay. And this book, I have personally gone to more than 100 schools myself. And I told them about this subject called Anvikshiki. You would be surprised to know that today's CBSE board, okay, please watch me, it's a very big board in schools, very primary education, has decided to actually include Chanakya's Anvikshiki as a part of their syllabus.
Oh, that's great.
Very important. Second thing I want to tell is that there is a very interesting school. It's called CIRS, Chinmaya International Residential School. It is out of Coimbatore and it's supposed to be one of the very well-known boarding schools. So I had been there. I worked with the principals and teachers. This academic year onwards, in the standard of 5th and 6th, there will be actual examination based on Arthashastra and Chanakya Niti. So it's actually not just an add-on lecture. They will be having projects. And imagine that CIRS is among the 100 schools of Chinmaya Mission. Okay, so once it is experimented here, it's going to be experimented everywhere. So thank you so much. So let me just complete this question. School mein ho raha hai, college mein ho raha hai, higher universities mein ho raha hai. The Chanakya International Institute of Leadership Studies also has got a 2 years postgraduate degree where Chanakya Niti is taught. So the idea is that yes, bachchon se leke higher education tak, it has been introduced, and very soon you will see the Chanakya revolution where your children and your grandchildren will also be learning Chanakya in the schools rather than waiting for us.
Government is also including everything.
Yes.
Because I believe that Chandragupta is the live model created by Chanakya, and when the Chandragupta was 5 years old, that time Chanakya have taught him and all his inputs. Chanakya have given, and we have the best leader like Chandragupta.
Right, absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Surana, ma'am.
Yeah. Sir, I think there are lots and lots of questions, and looking at the time, we have one more session in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I think whatever questions would be there, if we would forward it to your email address,
I'll be happy.
Yeah, and then it would be easy. I think, can we proceed for vote of thanks?
Yes, please. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Pillai sir. Now I will request Professor Nitin Dwivedi to propose vote of thanks.
Thank you, Krishna sir. On behalf of Department of Commerce, Bunts Anna Leela College of Commerce and Economics, I, Nitin Dwivedi, take this opportunity to present my vote of thanks. At the outset, I convey our thanks to management Bunts who were standing rock solid behind us when we asked for the permission to host this webinar. Our guest speaker, for whom Thanks is a very small word. We are blessed to be showered by his wisdom of words. Regards are due to our principal, Dr. Padma Deshmukh, who is always motivating and mentoring us to do such innovative programs. Our chief coordinator, Dr. Prashant Shinde, is a man of few words who works like a rock-solid support. He was there for all the problems faced by us and was providing a solution 24/7. Thanks are due to Mumbai University and College Teacher Association, who help us with the technical support and their valuable guidance. Our support system, IQAC coordinator, Sachin Pinklesa, was with us with the minutest adjustment to be made till the last moment. Last but not the least, our dynamic coordinator, Krishna Shukla sir, who was the constant source of connecting link between the entire department. I like to thank all the delegates who made this webinar a great success. Thank you to one and all who were directly or indirectly helping us in the organization of the webinar. Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, we are ending the session. Thank you all.